kind of captures something which is extremely relevant to us in terms of how technology is a metric to gauge our self-esteem. So in the course of today's session, we'll be sharing with you certain tips. So let me do one thing. Let me start sharing my screen with you, and I'm going to take you into telling you today's structure of the session. Now, when you look at the points, you're going to be thinking, that's a lot to be talking about. We start by first discussing a topic that's very close to our heart. What's your brand? What it is, we'll see when we come to it. The second is the link between self-esteem and technology, and when there's a gap. Then we move on to reasons as to how we use and misuse tech, how we express ourselves using technology. And then one of our favorite segments, because in Westlark, we believe in being very practical, karna kya hai? In other words, what should we be doing in order to implement the theory and make it a practice in our lives? Then comes a segment that is considered very important, and this Westlark is covering today under the Swaman series of gender sensitization talks, Indian laws. What do Indian laws have to say about it? So we're going to be touching upon 4 Indian laws. We have the Indian Penal Code, the IT Act, the POSH Act, and the UGC guidelines. And after this, we finally conclude by talking about how the whole thing wraps up. ये सारे जो points हम discuss करेंगे वो एक साथ जब आते हैं, उनका जब एक मिश्रण होता है, how we can gauge whether or not we have healthy self-esteem. So on that note, let's get started. And the question that I'd like everybody to think about, if some of you feel so inclined, you could use a chat box to give your answer, but that is completely voluntary. The question is, आपको खुद को describe करने के लिए एक शब्द का इस्तेमाल अगर करना पड़े, if you have to describe yourself in one word and let it be a positive word, a good word, an optimistic word, what would the word be? I repeat, if you have to describe yourself using one positive word, like an adjective maybe, I'm a dash person, say a determined person. Now that's one example. I don't want to bias you, so I'm not going to give you more examples of adjectives. What would that word be? आपको खुद के description के लिए एक शब्द का सिर्फ अगर इस्तेमाल करना पड़े, वो क्या शब्द होगा? वो सोचिए. If you want, you can share in the chat box. Again, I repeat, this is completely voluntary. So some of us might think, I'm a little bit like this. Some will say, I think I'm like this. And some will say, no, this is who I am. And others might just say, my life is actually much simpler. This is who I am. So the choice is, what is the brand that you have? I can see a lot of messages have begun to come up in chat. I'm going to take a few moments before checking the chat. And the reason for sharing this 4th picture is very deliberate. We all know of people who are very intelligent, but they use their minds and bodies like how the sweet little fellow is using. They don't really think of themselves in this way. So the thing is, what is your brand? What is your self-image? What is your self-perception? आप खुद के बारे में क्या सोचते हो? हम आपसे ये नहीं पूछ रहे हैं कि दुनिया आपके बारे में क्या सोचती है, वो अलग कहानी है. लेकिन आपके मन में आपके लिए कौन सा एक ब्रांड इमेज है? That is what we mean. So think about it, and we'll just take a few moments more. Let me just check what's come up in the chat so far. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. So kindness, being an observation-oriented person, a confident person, curious, empathetic. Okay, that's truly lovely. A real Indian. Very nice. Let me just scroll up a bit. So you'll be able to see the chat messages that I'm putting up here, rather that have come up. Undaunted, a helper. Wonderful. Gullible. Okay. So Aditi, don't worry. You're not the only one. Just convert that to a person who's idealistic. One doesn't need to be gullible. Flickering in the thoughts somebody has written. Yes, that happens. That's not a worry. We can always have an offline discussion. Ever ready? Okay. But be ready for the right things. Confident, hungry learner. Childish, childlike is wonderful. What you've written, I appreciate that. Elon Musk, not bad. Salubrious, really? We use that for climate. Please check out your thesaurus, not the dictionary. I think you're trying to intend something else. Salubrious is with reference to climate, not with reference to a person. Mystified. In fact, any of you who are planning for higher studies overseas, this is a good time for me to do a little check on your English and see what words you are using. Awesome. Okay, that's nice. But awesome is a bit of an overused word. Honest for myself, yes. Ambivert. Okay, so you're using personality type. Whoever goes into personality, do the Myers-Briggs test for self-assessment, MBTI. It's fun. Okay, so curious. Great. So at that point, I'm going to stop checking the chat and ask you, when we move ahead from here, therefore, with reference to visit, what is your brand? Now, somebody may say, how does that even matter? What does my college have to do with my brand? The answer is very simple. Our identity, perceived in our minds as well as with the outside world, very often is shaped by who and what we associate with. So for example, आप विजिट के स्टूडेंट हो, विजिट का जो एक नाम है, जो एक ख्याति है दुनिया में, समाज में, इंडिया में, महाराष्ट्र में, मुंबई में, उसके कारण आपका जो ब्रांड इमेज है वो बढ़ जाता है. You are going to be associated as an alumni once you finish your studies from here, and that is always going to be there with you. You'll look back with pride. You'll feel happy that I was a visit student. And when you travel and go anywhere, you're going to find where the visit alumni have reached, and you're going to pat yourself on the back for being a part of that. And had you been meeting in college, this would have been even more evident to you, but we are making it evident to you in the virtual world, as your professors would have been doing, as principal ma'am would have been doing through the course of the whole 1 year. तो ये बात हमेशा हम ध्यान में रखते हैं. The place with which we are associated impacts our brand, which means all those of us who feel our brand is a little shaky. कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने मुझे जो डायरेक्ट मैसेज में लिखा, फ्लिकरिंग थॉट्स एक्सेट्रा, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, नो वरीज एंड नो प्रॉब्लम्स देयर. वो होता है, दैट्स वेरी कॉमन. द मेन थिंग इज टू नो दैट व्हेन यू हैव द सपोर्ट, एक आलम्बन होता है, एक आश्रय होती है with something larger than yourself, and you have earned your place legitimately in that place, in that family, in that institute, you know your brand is strong. That is what we mean by the impact of visit on your brand. Now, what this means is, अभी इसका एक तात्पर्य जो होता है कि हम बाहर जाके कोई भी काम जब करते हैं तो वो थोड़ा फिल्टर करके करते हैं, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा क्वालिटी कंट्रोल रखते हैं कि मैं कुछ अगर कहूं या करूं, it reflects on my institute, and I'm not just a human being, I'm today a student of visit. I'll give you a simple example. I'm a former investment banker. My MBA happens to be in finance, and I've worked with India's largest merchant banking and investment banking firm. And they pick up only the first rankers from institutes typically. So by God's grace, touchwood, I was someone who had topped all the 4 semesters of my MBA B school, which is why I made it there. And everybody is there from the best of institutes. Now, so far, so good. What initially daunted me and intimidated me is that the level of people is so high. The thinking is so strong there. The intellectual capacity of people is so strong that I had to be much more mindful than when I go with my seniors to a meeting, or I'm going to meet a client with my departmental people. I have to think 5 times before I say anything so that they are not embarrassed because of my words. So this is what we mean when we say your brand gets linked to the places you're associated with. Being associated with visit comes with an upgrade. It's like आप जैसे सॉफ्टवेयर अपग्रेड करते हो, आपके मोबाइल फोन और कंप्यूटर के प्रोग्राम्स का अपग्रेड होता है. In the same way, at this point in this moment, those of us who are not aware of this, consciously please upgrade your definition of who you are as a brand, because now you're a student of visit. 1 year has passed by, you're a student of VES. A student of Vivekananda Education Society has a certain quality. He or she is not going to be thoughtless, casual, indifferent, somebody who's always a jugadu kind of person, someone who's perpetually a chalta hai kind of person. Now some may say, but ma'am, aisa kyun hai? The thing is, there's a certain institutional ethos built up over time, over years and decades. It's your choice whether you want to live up to it or not. Ye choice hamesha hamare paas hoti hai. whether we want to be associated with the good values. So here's the chance, therefore, for an upgrade. Now, the question that then comes up is, ये सारी चीजें तो brand के related है. What about self-esteem then? In the chat box, we've written such wonderful things about ourselves. That means we've got strong self-esteem. So if we were to ask what is self-esteem actually about, we would break up that particular term into these words. There are 4 things which get clubbed under self-esteem. Our confidence, our identity, which is just now what we talked about, belonging, which is also what we talked about with reference to visit, and competence. Confidence and competence usually go together, लेकिन ऐसा भी हम लोग अक्सर देखते हैं कि कुछ students ऐसे होते हैं जो competent तो होते हैं लेकिन खुद में उनका विश्वास नहीं होता है. And the opposite is also true. There are students who are not competent, but they are brimming with confidence, which is false confidence. Life ने एक अगर झटका उनको दिया, तो फिर वो हड़बड़ा जाते हैं, घबरा जाते हैं. There's an identity crisis they face. So the 2 things have to go together. So then we ask ourselves, self-esteem, how do you know that your self-esteem is strong? Because today's topic is about that. तो मुझे कैसे पता होगा कि मेरा जो self-esteem है, मेरा जो एक आत्मविश्वास है, वो सही है, strong है. So I'm showing on the screen a bunch of words. What we are talking about is the first aspect of self-esteem is resilience. Your ability to bounce back from a disappointment. किसी ने आपको कुछ nasty बातें कही है, किसी ने आपको provoke किया है, या लाइफ में कोई ऐसी दुर्घटना हुई है जिसकी वजह से आपको लगता है life is really bad, life is really tough. How quickly can you come out of that and go into optimism? Helpfulness, meaning knowing that you are not just the center of the world, there are so many billions of people around and everyone has the same right to existence as you and I do. Open to constructive feedback. Now, this is very important. आपने देखा होगा शायद आपके आसपास के लोगों में कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं, आप अगर उनको कुछ feedback दो, if you tell them something negative about them as feedback, they're immediately very defensive. Immediately they will start justifying. They'll make it seem कि मुझ में कोई कमी नहीं है, जो भी कमी है वो दूसरों में है. That shows lack of healthy self-esteem. And 2 more things we have written: the ability to say no and your ability to express your needs in a respectful way. These are all indicative of healthy self-esteem. अगर आप उसको flip करो, if you go to the other side, you have all the metrics which tell us that our self-esteem is not healthy. The first is defensiveness, getting angry fast. Getting angry fast is typically a sign of insecurity. And I'm not going to ask you the embarrassing question कि आप में से कितने students ऐसे हैं जिनको गुस्सा बहुत जल्दी आता है. मुझे मालूम है बहुत सारे ऐसे students हैं, because in our interactions we have found this to be a common thing, especially in the pandemic. Right now, please just accept yourself for who you are. Don't judge yourself. We need to work at certain traits in ourselves because no human being is perfect. But that is to be done in the paradigm of acceptance. Now, the 3rd and 4th are very interesting traits of poor self-esteem. The crab mentality. Somebody is doing well, चलो मैं उसके नाम के पीछे कुछ चुगली करके कहूँ, या किसी को कोई ख्याति मिली है, किसी को कुछ अच्छा सुनाम मिला है, तो उसके लाइफ में थोड़ा मैं जाके ट्रबल घोल दूं, so that I can see that person suffer. There's a German word for it called Schadenfreude, which means to take pleasure in someone else's pain. We'll be coming to a concept which tells you why that is stupid. But for now, just understand that this is a very sure metric of low self-esteem. Only somebody who's very insecure and feels very small as a person tries to pull others down. The more secure we are as people, the more we want to not just cooperate with others, but we also praise them, we thank them, we acknowledge them, we appreciate them. Ask yourselves, amongst your friends, who are the people who are always ready to acknowledge something good in you and in others? You know they have strong, healthy self-esteem. Also, therefore, anyone who tries to bully, dominate and domineer others, that is a sign of poor self-esteem. किसी और के ऊपर दबाव देना मतलब मुझ में बहुत सारा pressure है. I am not happy with myself. If I am happy with myself, in Bhagavad Gita, there's a phrase, Atmane Atmana Tushtaha. I will be complete and satisfied I will not want to create trouble in someone else's life in order to feel good about myself. The other things that we have listed here, having poor boundaries. In other words, you can't tell no when there's a respect request made to you. You're a people pleaser. Imposter syndrome. A lot of students who become very successful sometimes feel they don't deserve the success. I had a student once who was an international level table tennis player. He came to me with a very peculiar request for help. He said, ma'am, please help me. There are times I get nightmares because I feel I'm not good enough, and all the medals I have won, all the tournaments I have participated in, I feel all that counts to nothing. So we worked on his case, but anyway, that is called the imposter syndrome. And you need to know this is just a mind quirk, which we need to tweak. And people pleasing, we have already mentioned. The question is then, are we born with healthy self-esteem and can we nurture it? Is it nature or nurture? The answer is both. Some of us are born with a healthy self-esteem. पैदाइशी ऐसे होते हैं. They were very sunshiny. We are very cheerful. We are optimistic. We are resilient. We believe in ourselves. We also believe in the world. और कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं पैदाइशी रोंदूराम. Sorry for using such a blunt word, but if you look at them, उनके चेहरे पे कभी भी हंसी नहीं होती है. Their eyes are always dull and glazed. There's never a twinkle. उनको ऐसे देख के लगता है that the whole world's problems are on their shoulders. Such people can nurture healthy self-esteem. It's a training and it's a gradual process. Is it possible? Yes. Is it an overnight process? Obviously no. ये तो आप में वो समझ है that you know that that's not overnight. So therefore, the next question which comes up is, हमने brand की बात करी, visit with brand की बात करी, self-esteem and brand के साथ क्या connection है उसके बारे में सोचा है. Where does technology fit into the whole thing? How is technology a very useful metric by which you can gauge whether or not your self-esteem is healthy? So now we are moving into a very defined part of our discussion today. In the next several minutes, we are going to be focusing exclusively on this linkage of technology with self-esteem. And then towards the end of the session, we're going to come back towards the broader definition of self-esteem. So let me just show you two statements on the slide. Take a look. Take a few moments to just read what we have shared here. One of the common things I found while talking to a lot of young people, and our counselors also had the same experiences, in the pandemic, people's use of technology has increased multifold. Some of it is understandable. Physical classes नहीं है, online classes है, तो आपको तो technology का इस्तेमाल करना ही है. However, some of it is by choice. So I know a young girl who got so much into K-dramas that now she has started using Duolingo in order to actually learn the language. I know somebody else who got so much into gaming that he's literally sleeping for 3-4 hours at night. I know a postgrad student who's 24 years of age, extremely brilliant. He's an entrepreneur in addition to doing his MBA. However, he's got a serious problem with manga and anime addiction. He's completely into Japanese anime and manga. Now, the thing is, if self-esteem is poor and weak, technology seems to fill that gap. So therefore, it can be caused by poor self-esteem, too much of use of technology, especially when we're using it in non-productive ways. However, even if someone has healthy technology, but he or she is not careful and allows himself or herself to slip into that rabbit hole of Alice in Wonderland, you know what I'm talking about. If you're on Instagram, if you can't stop scrolling, अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा अलग-अलग social media platforms का use करते हो, then even if you had good self-esteem to start with, you can actually have self-esteem getting adversely impacted because of overuse of technology. And there's a very interesting thing which tech allows you. It looks as if you can wear Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. आप किसी और के मुखौटे के साथ या इनविजिबिलिटी के साथ कुछ कर सकते हो, कुछ बोल सकते हो, कुछ टाइप कर सकते हो, किसी को ईमेल भेज सकते हो, and you think it allows you not to be accountable. Is that correct? Let's examine that question at two levels very quickly for now. One level is at the technology level. The answer is no, it's not correct, because no matter how smart you are, chances are, unless you're an absolute blooming genius with an IQ of 181 and the best hacker in the world, there will be others who are equally smart as you are, or maybe even smarter than you are. That's probability. Which means that you are going to be leaving electronic footprints, which means no matter what you decide to do using technology, thinking, मैं अगर टेक्नोलॉजी का गलत इस्तेमाल करूं, किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा, it's me. That's not correct. And if you're really smart, you'll know that. One has to be really foolish to be a little deluded and think that I'm really not leaving any footprints anywhere. Second level of analysis, karmic. कर्म नाम की एक चीज होती है, इसके बारे में हम बाद में बात करेंगे. This is not a metaphysics discussion, but still, you all are intelligent enough and mature enough to know that Newton's third law, action always has an equal and opposite reaction, cannot be denied. So if I feel I'm able to get away with something today, it's a matter of time when the reaction comes into my life with compound interest. I'm using a finance term here, with compound interest, because the longer it takes for the reaction to come back, the greater is the impact. And that's logical. अगर क्रिया और प्रक्रिया दोनों एक साथ हो, there's no problem. But when there is a time gap, it means the good and the bad come to me in a much bigger force, which means, is technology an enabler of self-esteem or a disabler? Now, students, the next time you'll decide to organize a debate, maybe this could be a topic that you talk about. For our purposes, we're saying it's actually neutral. Technology can be both an enabler as well as a disabler. It all depends upon how smart we are and how we decide to engage with technology. So something interesting that we must have noticed, we have been wearing masks, even in general, even before the pandemic. ये सबका ऑब्जर्वेशन रहा होगा कि हम दुनिया के सामने जो खुद को दिखाते हैं वो हमेशा सही नहीं होता है. We're not always necessarily the same people that we project to the world using social media, which is why we say the online world is a very surreal world. You have to be very careful when you use technology a lot. And I'm going to be later talking about a concept in science, in neuroscience, to explain this further. For now, the question to ask is there a problem if I show myself as something whereas I'm something else? Let's say, for example, I know I'm an insecure person, but in order to feel good about myself, I like to show the world that, no, I'm super cool, I'm very happy, I'm very chilled out, मेरे life में कोई problem नहीं है, मैं दूसरों से ज्यादा बेहतर हूँ, I'm more superior, I'm smarter, I can do things that others can't, etc., etc. Is there a problem if there's a gap? So now our counselors will be dealing with these topics where they discuss what happens when there is a gap, what are some of the root causes of technology related issues, what is it we should be doing, and then we'll be coming back to you with what the laws say and how we rebuild our healthy self-esteem. So on this note, I'm going to be handing over the speaking stage to Ms. Preeti Vasudevan, our counselor, and request her to take it forward. Over to you, Preeti.
Thank you so much, Pia ma'am. I hope I'm audible to everybody. So Pia ma'am has explained a lot, and we now know in the direction that we are going. So like we discussed, why do people engage in such behavior? Why does someone make use of social media in a way which can disable their entire self-esteem rather than enable? So one of the first reasons that people do this is because there have been issues in their life. So if I say that if I am a person who's struggling with a lot of things in my life and I am not able to cope with it, or I'm having difficulties with it, or I feel that everything is hopeless and helpless and I just don't know what to do. And even if I know what to do, I do not want to take the time or the energy to work on myself. So what is the best thing to do? Try and find somebody else. Try and see what is going in their life, what is happening. क्या मैं उनके बारे में कुछ जान सकता हूँ? क्या मैं उनको नीचे दिखा सकता हूँ? क्या मैं दिखा सकता हूँ कि मेरी लाइफ तो अच्छी है, तुम्हारी शायद अच्छी खासी नहीं है? and make that person's life a little more difficult than it already may be. So we feel that the attention that we need in our life, we are not getting it. Maybe we want to state our opinions, but there is no platform for it. Or maybe there's nobody to listen to us. So what we do is we put it out there on a social platform where, unfortunately, the negative comments or the dislikes are given more importance than the positive comments or likes. So I'll know for sure there'll be somebody, if there is, say, for example, I'm following a page and I write some negative comments to the maker of the page, and there are fans of that maker, okay? That person, the people out there will definitely have something to say to me. Well, they'll barge onto me and they'll say, how can you talk like this? How can you be so mean? Can we have some respect around here? Now remember, any attention is good attention. We want to feel that we are seen, we are heard. Unfortunately, some people choose to be seen or heard in ways that do not help them or others. So the first thing is to remember, when we are writing something, when we are posting something, are we doing this to make ourselves stand out, to make ourselves be seen, or to encourage somebody and help somebody out? The second reason is when we feel that I know everything, this person has put up so much on their page, I practically know what is happening in their life. I do not think so. Maybe we just know half-baked versions of their life, or they choose to put up something else and what is happening in their life. They may not be actually sharing difficult moments of their life. They may be sharing more happy moments to encourage us. And yet, what we choose to do, we believe that, hey, you put it out on social media. And if it's out there for the world to see, it's okay for the world to comment. So if you are ready for the bouquets, be ready for the brickbats. So we think that, well, you're getting all the nice comments. Well, see what I can do. I'm going to create a little, chaos out here and see what happens. The moment I do that, what are people going to do? So I have the remote control of emotions, of people's emotions, and that makes me feel powerful. So if there are people like this who are believing that everybody's life is out there on social media and we have every right to make assumptions and judgments, well, we don't. That is not our job. We do not have to. That person is doing what he or she needs to. But can we be respectful? Can we state our opinions in a respectful way, whether we agree or not? It's okay to give opinions, but can we be more respectful towards that person? And I've also seen people who say, for example, if I am a very good dancer, and if there is an influencer who has put up a great post on dancing, and I feel, oh my God, seriously, I know all genres of dancing. I know everything from A to Z. I'm the best dancer. And what is this person doing? Really? Is that even dance? Is that how you even move? Is that even how the hook step is supposed to be? Now, if these thoughts, I put it in words and I put it for the entire world to see, I believe that this is my confidence. I'm showing how confident I am as a person. See, I know it all. But what we don't understand is this is not my confidence, it is my arrogance. Confidence does not mean that we put people down and we show that we are high and mighty, we know everything, and that's it. Okay, confidence is about feeling good about ourselves and wanting to make people feel good about ourselves. When it comes to arrogance, we put people down. We say that you're not good enough, you can never be who I am. And that is what arrogance does, and confidence is completely different. So it's very important that I should be careful. Am I putting myself out there as a confident person, or am I putting myself out there as an arrogant person? There's a lot of difference, and we need to learn where is that line, and are we crossing that line from confidence to arrogance? So it all comes down to the words we use and the way we speak, the way we, the kind of tone we use. Even written words have a tone to it. We think that it's only when you hear someone's voice there's a tone to it. No, even written words have a tone to it. When you put exclamation marks, that's a tone that you're giving to written words. When you give an emoji, that's a tone. You can understand the at least basic emotions that you attach to those words. So be very careful what you write out there, because yes, there are people reading, but there are also people getting affected. Let's not want to be that kind of, have that kind of impact on people when we are hurting others. Let's all strive to pull up each other as we pull ourselves up. So for the next segment, I would like Meeta ma'am to take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Preeti ma'am. Thank you, Priya ma'am. So students, today I'm going to say from my opinion, like what as a psychologist I have come across and what I have been seeing from last many years. Like as a psychologist, I've worked with many clients and many people and many institutions also. So I was quite when I came across like one of the very known institution also who had even in some of the schools, like I had right from the young age I had seen that how the students were like having every grade they were having a confession page. And I talked to some students. I was quite intrigued to know that what is happening after all. So I just talked to some students and then I came to know that the students actually created this drama by maybe instigating or by just want to know that what is happening in someone's life. As like Preeti ma'am said, that what is happening, you are more interested to know for the entertainment purpose, or maybe some kind of reason behind it, maybe a revenge, or maybe attention seeking, or maybe to provoke someone's emotions, or it is after all something which is that you don't want to see someone else happy. Like for example, one of my client had posted her video and she got many good messages, many positive, many loving messages, but at the same time she also received a lot of hurtful and hateful messages. So what happens at that moment? The person is definitely going to feel that this is something I had just put up a video, and just if you empathetically, if you think yourself putting on that thing, on that person's way, then you will realize that after all, what is the reason why I want to put someone down or why I want to hurt someone just because maybe I'm not happy, or maybe I don't want to I want to seek attention in some negative way, as attention is anyways a attention, whether it is in a good or a negative. So what is the reason that I'm trying to uh, do all this thing? They also want to lash out at people who have been successful, who have been happy, and who are enjoying their life, but I'm not. So that's why I think that people also troll, because they are more insecure in themselves. They are more insecure in themselves and they want to get a kick out of being negative. They want to get a kick out of being negative towards someone else. So this is also one of the reason that they want to come up with this kind of behavior, which is not acceptable. Now, what happened? There are people who live intentionally provocative or negative messages. There and on in order to get some attention, to get to be more to upset people, or something where they want to cause trouble. Now, there is again the reason that as a kid, when someone must have gone really a rough childhood, or some were emotionally very much have faced a lot of challenges, or maybe a very difficult childhood, what happens at that time? A child has been abused, or he or she, that's why tends to let it out by trolling or by bullying the people around him or her. They also have a low self esteem. They have a very difficult time. So this is one of the reasons, like they want to just come up and they come up with this negative behavior. Now, what are the impact? What is, like, in short term, if you see you are insecure and you are feeling better, you're insecure and you're feeling better about yourself by putting other down, and at the same time being anonymous at the all the given time. So what happens that you are only being trying to put up and just having that happiness by just being anonymous and letting others feel down. But if you see it the longer time, if the long term kind of thing, over the years, they realize that they did what was wrong. They regret and they think that they shouldn't have been targeted students, as it leads to some kind of anxiety, some kind of possibly depression or many other behavioral issues. So you, at the longer time, I'm sure that any student or any individual who does involve himself or herself in this kind of behavior, at the same time, the conscious what is had is not going to be happy with oneself. It's always going to hit that, yeah, I've done something wrong. And that's why that will always trouble, and it will come again and again repeatedly at the conscious level at one time ago. So we need to understand that if we need to be happy, we need to be peace, and we need to spread harmony. And for what is our purpose? What is our higher purpose of life? That is what main thing we want to know. Then we will really be happy in making someone happy and not giving any hurtful or hateful messages or negative messages. We'll be more happy in spreading harmony through our values, through our skills, and through our maybe what we have been raised, we have been grown up with. And that is what is more important, that we should accept ourselves. Yes, that this is what I am, but I need to overcome with my own skills, my own potential, and compete with myself and bring up myself, the best version of myself. That is the more important, that how can I transform myself and I can be a good role model to others and be happy, and within my self-worth can bring out that worthiness within myself, because I know I have it, and I do not have to use any negative or wrong approach or the wrong path for letting myself also feel more maybe more internally down, and more be feeling more, I'll feel put down. It's better that I also raise myself and I take my own time to transform, and I can spread that harmony to others and in society and be a proud about myself. Thank you so much, students. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Meeta ma'am. I would request if Preeti could please take this forward.
Thank you, Meeta ma'am. Thank you, Pia ma'am. So now we are going to get into why does this happen? And we are going to do this from two perspectives. The first perspective from the person who is doing this, who is engaging in this sort of behavior, who's putting up those trolls, like Meeta ma'am said, trolling people, putting up memes, offensive language or inappropriate language. Why does somebody do this? And the second perspective that we'll be getting into is what to do if you're on the receiving end of such behavior. Okay, so the first aspect or the first perspective is why does somebody do this, and what should that person do if he or she is engaging in something like this. Now again, I'm going to give you an example wherein I was just seeing again some post and I was following somebody and I saw that there was this person who is an influencer. Again, they're all over the place, influencers on Instagram, right? There are different pages and they have multiple million followers, right? So she was putting up a dress hack, and again there were trolls and there were memes and there were jokes and so many things. And I got to this point wherein I kept asking myself, why is it that someone engages in this sort of language or this sort of behavior? Why does that person do that? When someone is about to do something like this, they need to take a step back and objectively ask themselves, why am I doing this? What is my purpose behind putting this comment or writing something like this that I'm sure is going to catch attention, which is undesirable? Why am I going to such great lengths to put this sort of opinion in front of someone? Is it because I'm angry? I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at the world. I'm frustrated. I'm jealous because I know I can also do what this person is doing, but I choose not to do. I choose to be a spectator. I choose to be on the sidelines. Or I feel I can do a better job, but I don't know how to do it. I don't have that confidence. So why not put someone else down, pull someone else's confidence down? So the first thing, or I think the most important thing, is to sit back and ask why we do what we do. What is the intention behind it? Usually what people do is they get into the action immediately, action oriented, and that's good. But being action oriented without direction, without intention, that serves no purpose. So first thing, why I am doing what I am doing. Sit with that. Ask, is it jealousy? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it something that I need to work on and build from there? Now, from the perspective of the person who's on the receiving end, what should they do? How should they manage all this? First of all, I'm going to repeat something that I've told before in my segment. Those people are not living your life. They have no idea what you're doing, how much effort you're putting in doing what you do, in bringing out the content or whatever you do in your life. There is a lot of work behind it, which is not seen. It's all behind the scenes, right? So you have to understand that what you put out there is what is going to be judged. It's not you who is out for being judged. It's your content, and you have to learn to detach from it, right? So do not allow them to make you feel that you're not good enough, because you are having your own journey just like they are having their own journey. We are all living our own journeys. We are all managing by ourselves. Yes, there will be criticisms, there will be opinions. If we can take certain criticisms and work towards it, is there something that I can take up and say, oh yeah, this is a good thing, maybe I can work on this further? Great. But there will be certain comments which obviously is not in good taste. That time what we need to know is, let that not make you feel bad about yourself. What we are in a world right now which is full of people who want to be liked, approved, validated. We don't need to be validated and approved to feel that we are good enough. This is an insecurity that we all hold in some small way or the other, in some big way. We are who we are, and we are working towards being our best version. So don't let anybody make you feel that you are bad or you're not good enough. Yes, we all put up stuff. Why? Because we want to be recognized, and that's not a bad thing. But let not that need to be recognized be associated with your self-worth or your self-esteem. Let that be separate. Let that be different. Let them not be so much associated with each other. Try to keep a distance between the two, right? And yes, of course, do not forget to remember the likes and the positive comments. Sometimes we are so focused on, oh, this person wrote this about me, this person wrote this about me. We forget about the people who are there for us, right? I'm not saying it's difficult to detach from people who are being bad towards us, but it's also important to balance and harmonize the fact that there are people who are vouching for us, who are there with us, who stand by us, who like what we do out here. So focus on those people too. Never forget to give gratitude for those people, and avoid taking it personally. So when there's something that is happening to you and you are absolutely, you've put up something, okay, and you're like, this is I worked so hard on this is going to be the best, I'm expecting so many great comments and likes. I'm sure this will, really be a trendsetter. And the exact opposite happens. Hardly any views, hardly any likes, hardly any comments, maybe more negative comments. Do not take it personally. You know the work you have done, and that is enough. That says it all. Right? I repeat, let not the need for recognition be associated with your self-esteem and your self-worth. If this is affecting you, if you're not able to, you're having difficulty taking it personally, it doesn't mean that you say, I don't care. I really don't care. The haters can go, get a life, take a hike. That also can, to an extreme, be very, very injurious to your mental health. Okay. So the balance between the two, not take it personally, not shirk it off, and say, how do I create this balance between the two? If this is creating an issue, sit with yourself, work on these issues. If required, do visit a counselor, okay, and start working on yourself. So these are certain emotional and mental aspects that I've spoken about, which I believe is not just applicable in the virtual world. This is in our daily, real life world too. Okay, it's not just something, this is just because we're talking about technology, definitely yes, but this is applicable in every part of our daily life. So without further ado, I ask Pia ma'am to continue with a segment with more of these mental and emotional aspects, and of course the legal aspects. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Preeti. So as we've heard Meeta ma'am and Preeti share their insights, now we have greater clarity. Firstly, what are some of the root reasons as to why we do what we do with reference to technology? Secondly, sometimes how our desperation for attention can lead us to channelize our brains in a way which is not healthy, in a way which is not appropriate. Thirdly, if we are at the receiving end, like Preeti ma'am said, what is it that we should have as our response? Please note, a response is different from a reaction. An animal reacts instinctively. A human being blessed with intelligence responds with appropriateness of behavior. So when somebody is being nasty towards me and that is unprovoked, with my intelligence and training, I'm supposed to respond and not just lash out, not just react. So like Preeti said, there's a fine balance between either shirking it off or taking it personally. One needs to be able to walk what Gautam Buddha had called the golden path. Anyway, to come back from metaphysics into a very, very prosaic domain, let me take us forward. I'm just going to do a screen share and we're getting into a very interesting segment, which is the legal part. Now, some of you will be thinking, ha, ma'am, isme interesting wali kaun si baat hai? So in Hindi, you must have heard the phrase, समझदार को इशारा काफी होता है. तो आप में से जो स्टूडेंट समझदार हैं, आपको इशारा काफी था. We've already been speaking for the last 40 minutes and we have shared so many tips and insights based on whether you're a doer of the action, whether you're the receiver of an action. But in Hindi, we also have another kahavat that says, लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. So for all those who like to wait a little bit more and want like to tell us what is it that we should be doing. So here are some details that we are getting into. Now, this is a segment, I repeat this for the sake of everybody's reference. This comes to us under the Veslak series of Swaman Talks. It counts under gender sensitization. And I'm going to request everybody to kindly take note of the laws very seriously, because as anybody above the age of 18, you are liable under the laws in case actions go wrong. So ignorance of the law is not a defense. In other words, if let's say I do something wrong using technology and I'm caught and pulled up, I can't say, sorry, I didn't know that the law says so. As per the Indian laws and as per laws of most of the world's countries, you can't take ignorance as a defense. If you're above the age of 18, certain laws apply. And by the way, if anyone is below the age of 18, if that curiosity you have, I know you're not, but still, there are other laws. Okay, so we'll just go first into the IPC. So let me just pull up for you a few things which talk about how the different sections apply. Take a look. So there are these very interesting sections which are there. You have to start with, there is some section called 425, which is the word mischief. Now the word mischief, for which you can actually get jail time of 3 months, That sounds like such a cute little word, right? Chota sa 3 saal ka bachcha, shaitani karta hai, mischief karta hai. Well, guess what? The IPC says that if someone around you thinks you have been up to mischief, you can actually be put in jail for 3 months, provided there is evidence. Then comes section 294, which upgrades that definition and says, if there is mischief and annoyance caused to others due to obscenity, you have 3 months of jail and a fine. Now, obscenity includes the usage of words in whatever language which are considered obscene. I'm just telling you for your reference, because this Indian Penal Code is an 1860 act, but it's got amazingly deft laws. Then comes section 509, which is there to protect women specifically, which says if any woman puts in a complaint saying so-and-so has insulted me and my dignity, you can have 1 year of prison and a fine. Then comes section 503. If you send an email or a WhatsApp message or an Instagram post, and I'm assuming you're a man in this case, although you could be a woman as well, intimidating somebody, threatening somebody, telling someone, watch out, look out, do this or else, that can get 2 years in prison. Then comes 419. I love this one. If you try to take somebody else's persona, cheating by personation, it's 3 years and a fine. Then you have sections 420 and 468, which also involve cheating. And the best part about using these particular sections is that they're not bailable. In other words, you can't get yourself free and say, look, I've got money, let me pay the bail money. Haha, I can go back to doing what I'm doing. Well, guess what? You can't. And then you have a fantastic set of amendments which have come under the criminal law amendment. You all can read that, sections 354A and D, which includes the specific word stalking. What that means is if one person continuously in an unwanted way is harassing someone, troubling someone, using electronics, you can have imprisonment for 3 years to 5 years, and it is non-bailable. In other words, if the receiver of your messages is not happy with what you're doing, you could be in serious, serious trouble. Now, somebody may say, okay, is this getting too serious? Wait, there's more to come. We're coming into the IT Act of 2000. The first one is identity theft. 66C, 3 years in prison, 1 lakh rupees. 66D, very close. If you use computer resources, 3 years of prison, 1 lakh rupees fine. 66E, if your target is a woman or women, then 3 years in prison and 2 lakh rupees. So please note the fine penalty goes up if you have done a crime against a girl, a woman, or women. And then you have use of obscene language, which is 3 years in prison and 5 lakh rupees. These are all non-bailable. 81, I personally love section 81 of IT Act. What this says is, students, please note, by now, if you're getting a little confused and wondering, man is going so fast with all the acts, how are we supposed to remember? What are we supposed to remember? Just remember this one act that says IT Act will override other acts in case there is a clash. In other words, the tougher of the two, the stricter of the two applies. And the IT Act is stricter than the IPC, usually. Then we come to the third and fourth acts, the POSH Act, which is Prevention, Prohibition, and Redressal of Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace, and the UGC Act of 2015. Now, somebody may say, itne sare acts ki zarurat kya hai? Unfortunately, zarurat hai, isliye ye acts hai. What is it that is told to us? Firstly, UGC 2015 clearly defines and states that in a place of study, in a higher education institution, HEI, if there is trouble of the nature of harassment, then it is taken in a very serious way with disciplinary action. The POSH Act also talks about the same. The POSH Act applies to anybody above the age of 18. It can be employer-employee relations, student-student interactions, student-employee interactions. Please note, all kinds of interactions are covered by this particular act. And also, please note, gentlemen students, unfortunately, this act is not in your favor. This act is strongly tilted towards girls and women, which is why it is called the Prevention, Prohibition, and Redressal of Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace. It is not just at the workplace or of men and women and all genders at the workplace. No, it is only women at the workplace. And there's a reason why our policy makers have thought of this. The Westlark team has had the chance to be working on this, studying this, taking sessions on this for a while. I can assure you that while the IPC is more gender neutral, IT Act and POSH Act are pro-women. And there are rules which say the stricter of the acts can be used for application, which means one has to be very careful in case we come in the category of lato ke bhoot baaton se nahi mante, which I hope we don't, but still. And typically, as per the situation, the complaints committee takes things forward. I'll not take you all into the mechanism of this, but please be aware that in VES, any kind of bullying, ragging, harassment is strictly non-negotiable. Like Dr. Nair had mentioned in the beginning of the session, you already know after 1 year in this institute, there are certain things which can be negotiated. There are certain things which cannot be negotiated because it's a very black and white, clear demarcation which is there. If anything is put up as a complaint under POSH Act, it is non-negotiable. It's like outside your hands. You can't say, sorry, this was mischief, मैं बाद में कभी नहीं करूंगा, मुझसे गलती हो गई, मुझे एक्ट के बारे में पता नहीं था. Like we have said before, ignorance of an act is not a defense at all. Once you're 18, you're accountable for every single action that you do. I have just shared over here a helpline number. In Maharashtra, the timing is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. If ever, God forbid, you find yourself at the receiving end of trouble and you want to use this, it's an extremely user-friendly portal that the government has set in. This is a screenshot that I'm sharing. You can see the number which I have just put up. It's 155260. Certain states, they work around the clock. Certain other states, it is with a certain time. And I have heard from people, because we interact with people in NGOs, etc. This actually works. It works beautifully. And in fact, recently, the government department has hired 26 graduates from the various IITs as part of the cybercrime cell, which is very reassuring in a country like India, because we do need a little bit of training for people that when you use technology, use it the right way. Don't use it to cause trouble in other people's lives. I'm sharing here another number that I've highlighted. This is Mr. Yashasvi Yadav that you can see. And this is a number. This is a work line number. He's extremely, extremely proactive when it comes to dealing with cases of any kind of harassment, especially when it is harassment of women. So when there's a gender tilt, it is taken very strongly. I'm just going to take a few moments more on this slide in case anybody wants to note. In fact, this gentleman has been in the news recently for having taken certain new initiatives in the cybercrime cells, especially with reference to Mumbai, not just Maharashtra. I can share that with you. Interestingly, there is something called the Computer Emergency Response Team. They also have a fantastic way of reaching out by email, by phone, by fax. All they need is some sort of screenshot evidence of trouble. That's it. And these guys are good because they have hired some of the best of brains. So like we said sometime back, sometimes we might think, oh, I'm a genius. I can do this and I can run away. But then guess what? There are other people who are equally smart or maybe smarter who want to stop such people from doing mischief. Now, what are the steps in case one wants to report a cybercrime? It's fairly simple. These are the 4 things you need to do. First, file an FIR at the local police station. Second, if need be, also report to the higher authorities within the government. Here, we're not talking of an institute as such, but just as a layman, as a citizen. Third, you are given free legal assistance for cyber-related issues. If you're a woman, again, this is woman tilted. So if you are getting cyber stalked, you get free legal assistance and you can request for privacy when things are getting reported. That's a choice. That's a voluntary choice. Now, after hearing all this, some of us might be thinking, should one be taking up a voice? In India, is it not better कि हम लोग कुछ नहीं बोले तो अच्छा है? The answer is no, because contrary to a lot of public perception, the thing is, it's about our choices of courage. When you call out somebody or call out something which is wrong, more than calling out a person, I would say it's calling out a behavior which needs correction. You're actually doing yourself a great favor. You're also doing other people a great big favor. Is it easy? No. But take a look at the 2 quotations that we've shared with you here on the slide. The first one tells you how tough times actually work the way a gym works. When you go to a gym, a gymnasium, you know that the resistance that you have allows you to build your muscle. Similarly, tough times do exactly that. The second, one of my favorite quotes by Albert Einstein, who talks about passivity leading to greater evil than just those who do active evil. So if you're one of those who are fence sitters, if you're one of those who are observers, if you're one of those people जो जानते हैं कि हाँ कहीं पे कुछ गड़बड़ है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, आपको शायद ये भी पता है कि जिसके लाइफ में ट्रबल है, उनमें वो क्षमता है नहीं कि वो कुछ करें. They are right now too cowed down. Can you take up a stand on other people's behalf? The answer is yes. The Indian government portal actually allows complaints to be made by others as well. Also, and here's the good news part, you can do it anonymously. Also, and this is an even better news, you can ask for a tracking of your complaint, which means the government will keep telling you, this is the status, this is the progress, it has come, your complaint has been taken to this level, etc. Within 90 days, there is a clear-cut process which is demarcated, action is taken. It actually works. I can share this with you from the Westlaw team's experience side, it actually works. And some of us are thinking at this point that why is ma'am telling us all this? If any of you have this in your minds, हम तो अच्छे बच्चे हैं, मैम हमें 4 laws के बारे में क्यों बता रही है? So some of you may be thinking like this. You have worked so hard, right from your 9th standard, you studied to get into a good engineering college, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, you gave your engineering entrance exam. When you got your admission to visit, you would have breathed a sigh of relief. You would have said, ha, अच्छे college में admission हो गया. You would have felt so good about it. And now we are doing such a long, lengthy session talking about abuse of technology, and you're looking and wondering, ये सारे counselors और PR मैम हमें इतने सारे details क्यों बता रही है? Well, you have nothing to fear, right? If you're in the right zone, you have absolutely nothing to fear. So stay that way. Stay that way. So now we come back into looking at how do we regain our healthy self-esteem with reference to technology, as well as with reference to the wider definition of life. So if you're one of those people who have fallen down the tech hole, Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole, like we call it, and you need help, your brain is hijacked. You decide to look at your Instagram feed for 10 minutes and 10 minutes becomes 30 minutes and 30 minutes becomes 1 hour. Or you're so much into Netflix that you can have Korean songs going on in your head, or Chinese dramas or Japanese dramas or Turkish dramas or whatever happening in your head. And you need Google Translate for your own thoughts because you've been watching so many different things in so many different languages. Then this segment is for you. If you get bored fast, and if you are also good with technology, what it means is you have a certain kind of brain wiring. Please note, getting bored fast is usually a sign of potential for intelligence. Being able to use that intelligence well is a sign of real intelligence, meaning how you channelize. So if you're one of those people who starts tapping your fingers, jiggling your feet, online class चल रहा है ना आप सोच रहे हो आपका दिमाग 3, 4, 5, 10 जगह पे जा रहा है, in a way you should be patting yourself. Please note my words in a way, because it means your brain is like a Bakasur. Bakasur is in Indian mythology a giant who forever needed to be given things to consume. If he was not given food by the villagers, he would go down voraciously hungry into the villages and just grab whatever people or cattle or livestock he would see. Many of us have brains which are like Bakasurs. If that is your case, you can pat yourself in the back because half your progress is kind of assured. Baki ka half aapko karna hai. What it means is you have a high capacity for stimulus and learning. Your brain is craving stimulus all the time. Now the remaining 50% of intelligence comes as to, do you choose to be a nuisance to other people with that restlessness, with that boredom, or do you find a problem to solve by channelizing your gray cells? Real smartness is when you know you're intelligent and you decide to use your brains to make your life meaningful, to create a legacy, to live in such a way that others feel good that you existed on this planet. Not that when we die and go, and in the pandemic, we are seeing how fragile life is. It shouldn't be that only your family cries for you. Your work should be leaving such an impact that there should be people whom you don't know who have benefited because you have walked on this planet and who feel bad that you are no more and who feel happy that you were there and you made a difference. That is brains. That is smartness. That is intelligence. That is EQ, IQ, and SQ, spirituality quotient. That is who a person can be. That is exactly what our counselors, Meeta ma'am and Preeti ma'am, were saying some time back when they said, it's about your potential and worthiness. These were the words which they used. If you have potential, if you really think you're good, you really think I'm better than the others, मुझे ये करना आता है, मैं दुनिया को दिखाऊंगा, तो ऐसा काम करके आप दिखाओ कि लोग सच में आपके लिए ताली बजाएं. If you're a nuisance, people will tolerate you for a while, and at some point when your nuisance level becomes very high, you are going to be shushed up and shut up. Remember, Sri Krishna gave Shishupal 100 chances to rectify his sins. And then, there's a concept in Hindi, we say, paap ka ghada. When that gets full, that's the end of your story. And then no amount of regret ever gets you back, which is why we say, if you're smart, samajhdar ko ishara kafi hota hai. So therefore, we come back towards addressing what our counselors said is the root cause. Why is it that sometimes our intelligence takes us on the wrong paths? Why is it that our brains, we don't channelize right? Why is it that we know the right thing but still don't do it? We forget to practice fundamental kindness towards ourselves. Preeti ma'am had asked us to ask ourselves a question. Why are we doing what we're doing? When we do an action, what is it in us that is making us do the action? It's a very uncomfortable question to ask students. Especially for those of you who are engineering students here, we have such a large audience and all of you are engineers. Engineers are always considered by society to be a cut above the rest. Engineers, doctors, as we know, certain professions. But the thing is, do you also take time in holding a mirror in front of yourself to ask what your motivations are? What are the drivers of action? So ye jo concept hai fundamental kindness, this helps us accept who we are and address it in the right way. मुझ में अगर insecurity की problem है और मैंने अगर denial उसका नहीं किया, I choose not to have denial, but I choose to accept it, acknowledge it, look at it, that yes, I am an insecure person. That causes me to lash out, that causes me to be angry, that causes me towards bullying, that causes me towards pretending that I'm someone else and doing all kinds of inappropriate and criminal activities, actually criminal activities. You need to practice kindness towards yourself, because somewhere it means we need to heal. When we lash out at the world, that's an indication that we have a pain inside us which is undressed. So what are the things which we normally do? Technology usually hijacks our minds. Technology works to fill up those gaps, to fill up that aspect of our self-esteem which is not strong. Many of you, I'm sure, are into memes. आजकल की दुनिया में तो memes के templates बनते हैं, and I know students who make memes. Why do we do that? Because we get joy in knowing that there are others who are like us. There are others who may be suffering like us, others who may have problems with us. No problem. Up to a point, it is fine. But when electronic escapism becomes our way to not look at the problems we have, then there's a problem. So sometimes we end up making such statements कि मैं तो ऐसा ही हूं. Life is anyway all messed up. Life is anyway tough to handle. ये pandemic, ये virus, ये vaccine. Does anybody even know how the world is going to be in a few years? हमें job मिलेगा भी कि नहीं? ये जो हम लोग degree acquire कर रहे हैं, इसके आगे क्या करने वाले हैं? Will I be able to go for a master's? Will I be able to go for a job? There are so many thoughts going on in the mind. An average human being will have several thousands of thoughts per day. In that scenario, electronics becomes a very easy way to just stop thinking about what bothers us and escape. But every time we escape, we are actually building neural networks in our brain, which are taking us in a blind alley, not solving our fundamental problem, but giving us a feeling that it's all okay. You can listen to one more song, you can go into one more YouTube video, you can check out one more Instagram post, you can laugh over somebody else's silly meme, and you can pretend the problem doesn't exist. That's a problem with electronic escapism. So if these are your new best friends, And by the way, though professors who are attending, I know that this is true for a lot of the grown-ups as well. I have lost count of how many people I've been talking to in this pandemic for whom their laptops and mobiles have become more than their new best friends. They're like inseparable. You know then that there is a problem. So I'm just going to show you a very important concept here. It's called Baudrillard's theory of hyperreality. Let me just move this to the side. Why I'm showing this is because you all are visit students. This is a concept from neuroscience. You all are analytical students. You all are used to studying science. अब तक जितनी सारी चीजें हमने आपको कही है, आप उसको मानो या ना मानो, लीगल चीजें तो आप मान दोगे because that's a law. But then when it comes to self-esteem, you may think those are very intangible things and those are nice words which have been told to us today by the Westlark team. Does it have a basis? ये सारे जो ज्ञान ये लोग हमें दे रहे हैं, does it have a basis? The answer is yes. So this particular theory, look it up later, don't start scrolling right now. What it means is when you get too much into a certain escape world, it could be as simple as Disneyland, or it could be your Netflix, your Amazon, your Instagram feed, Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, anything. It creates what is known as hyper reality. In other words, you cannot distinguish between reality and its depiction. I know an 18-year-old who's now actually saving in order to go to Korea. She's saving money by taking tuitions in order to go to Korea. She has this fictitious idea in her mind that this is what the country is. So when I got to meet her, she's a niece of a colleague of mine. I showed her certain images and videos of real life country living in Korea. And she saw that and said, ma'am, are you trying to scare me? I said, no, I'm trying to give you reality. What you're watching is not Korea. Just the way when you put on an Indian television and you watch Indian series, your Nagins and Makkis are not India. So if you get my reference and example, you know what we're talking about. So Baudrillard's theory tells us be very, very careful when you allow technology to overrule your brain, or you live in a world which is not completely real. After a point, our brains get hijacked and we can no longer distinguish between reality and its depiction. So then, karna kya hai? On this slide, we're just going to show you 5 simple things to regain healthy self-esteem, to reclaim our brains. I love that phrase. Let's reclaim our brains. The first is start with self-acceptance. बार-बार हम लोग ये एक message दोहरा रहे हैं. We're reiterating the same thing repeatedly. Start where you are. Accept yourself for who you are. Nobody is perfect. We all have flaws. That's a human being, and that's the beauty of a human being. Imagine if 7 billion plus people on the planet, and if everyone was just a clone of the other. Life wouldn't be as rich and diverse as what it is. Start by accepting we are fundamentally different in each one, at the same time is unique and beautiful, just the way we are. Work towards bringing in greater sanity into your life. Simple thing, जो circadian rhythm जिसको बोलते हैं, यानी कि work with the sun. This is science. You have heard early to bed, early to rise, blah, blah, blah. ये सारी चीजें आपने सुनी हैं. हम करते कहाँ हैं? Most of us don't do it. I've lost count again of how many parents have come to Westlark for help saying, please help us, ma'am. हमारा बच्चा 11 के पहले उठता नहीं है. अगर classes online होती है तो फिर उसके पहले उठता है. 9 बजे उनको जगाओ तो बहुत hurriedly वो लोग उठते हैं. They don't even take care of their personal hygiene. They're in a very bad state. They'll sit up till late at night. Well, that's just being a little foolish, or more than a little foolish, because 4 years back, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was won by 3 scientists from USA who simply reiterated what the Charak Samhita in India said 3,000 years ago, that every cell of the body is attuned to the sun. So when you live with the sun, meaning your body cycle is the same as the sun cycle, you're actually going to be productive, you will live longer, you're lesser likely to have diseases, you're going to be healthier, happier, less likely to have depression, more productive. Now, who doesn't want a success formula like that? You don't want to reach the age of 25 and find that in your bag, you have 5 different pills to take. One for BP, one for diabetes, one for cholesterol, one for not getting sleep, one for being stressed out. ये सारी चीजें नहीं चाहिए. Keep life simple, get smart, practice circadian rhythm. The second is Ikigai. We will not go too much into details for this concept, but understand this means linking and aligning who you are with what you do. आपका जो गोल है, आपके लाइफ का जो मकसद है, आपका जो ड्रीम है, अगर मकसद नहीं भी है तो जो आपकी ख्वाहिशें हैं, जो चीजें आप चाहते हो, usko align kariye with what you're studying, the skills you're gathering. Do your Coursera courses, get into the various MOOCs platforms. You have fantastic professors to guide you. Use your time and visit to make such a difference to yourself that at the end of the 4 years, it's not just a degree that you acquire, it is much more in terms of the skills because of which you're a valuable asset to the companies you apply to, as well as the master's colleges maybe you apply to, most important to the world, to our country and to the world. The third thing for bringing in sanity, healthy mind food. अगर कुछ Baudrillard's theory हमें बताता है कि hyper reality है, I can always deal with that by countering it and getting in healthy mind food. What's healthy mind food? So for example, if you're a reader, now I happen to be a reader, I'm just showing you here. These are some of the examples of the books I just happen to have next to me. So this is Fundamentals of Financial Management. This is my MBA Days textbook by Prasanna Chandra. It's a classic, so I'm kind of revisiting that. This one's on Vedant. This one is on Bhakti Yoga. This one is on a detoxification for the body, because in Veslak we take lots of sessions. Based on my mood and my day, I will decide what to pick up. On another table near me, I also have fiction. So if I'm more tired than usual, I'll probably pick up the lightest read. Whereas if I'm still raring to go, I'll pick up something else. The point is, the Bakasur mind has to be fed good things. By default, unhealthy things come easily to us. Default ko badalna hota hai. That is a conscious choice. Please understand that left to itself, atrophy and entropy will work. All of you are science students, you know what words I'm using. If you go into Planck's theory example, if you go into various theories which talk about, given by our scientists, Rutherford, etc., they'll talk to you about atrophy, entropy. You know what we're saying. Mind ko sahi खुराक देना होता है. जिस तरह हम शरीर के लिए सही न्यूट्रिशन, पौष्टिक खुराक देते हैं, उसी तरह मन को पौष्टिक खुराक अलग से देना होता है. It does not happen by itself. Students, please note this now and you're going to be happier. You can thank us later, okay? Train the brain with mindful choices. Like our counselor said some time back, action करने के पहले, send button click करने के पहले, एक बार सोचिए, hold a mirror in front of yourself. Why am I doing what you're doing? Makes a difference. When you still find your mind is revisiting what you're used to, because minds don't change easily. Our minds are like little puppies, very mischievous, very frisky, full of energy. Idhar bhagna hai, udhar daudna hai. Right now also I'm talking and your mind is going to 50 different things. Maybe you can get the aroma of lunch getting cooked and that's in your mind. Where maybe you're wondering, ye session kab khatam hoga. Maybe you've got some year-end assignments to take care of. Use breathing. The first 1 minute mind hack. Focus agar karna hai. Abhi aap kuch sun rahe ho and you want to get that fully. You want to get its value. Focus on your breathing. Inhale, exhale. Just that one round of inhale, exhale using your belly. Breathing in fully and deeply allows you to short circuit the runaway brain, which is jumping all over the place because it's bored and restless. Visualization and exercise are also extremely useful, literally 1 minute hacks, because what they do is they change the hormones of the body, they change the breathing patterns, they change the blood pressure. Because of all these reasons, there's a lot of neuroscience behind it. We're not going into the details, but if you're smart, you will know, I get triggered by this or I get distracted by that. Let me come back to myself. Let me stay within focus by using these mind hacks. And most important, the fifth and final point, technology has to be treated with great caution. We have already discussed in detail how it is an indicator of our self-esteem. It is also something that can be dangerous and pull down our self-esteem if we're not careful. Simple example, let's say you get onto Facebook. I know most Gen Zers are not too much into Facebook, but let's say you do. And you look at other people's photographs or you go to their Instagram feed and they're putting up such wonderful pictures about what they're doing. And you feel your life is deficient in some way. You know that you have allowed at that time technology to overrule your rationality, because what we put out into the world is a curated version of ourselves. We don't put out our tears. We don't put out our struggles. Like Preeti ma'am was mentioning, you have no idea what someone else's life is actually like, but we jump to conclusions and we judge based on what we see. What we see is a hyper reality. It's not reality. So therefore, channelize smart, solve a problem and don't end up becoming a problem yourself. Because if you're a problem, others will find a solution to you. You don't want that. If you're a sorted person, अगर आप सुलझे हुए इंसान हो या सुलझे हुए इंसान बनना चाहते हो, you want to be a part of the solution. You don't want to be the part of a problem. Therefore, this is a concept which is very, very important. Just like you're aware, there is a bank in which we place our money and that grows with time. The one bank that is accessible to us from the time we are 4 or 5 years of age and aware of our actions is the Karma Bank. Every thought we think, every word we speak, every action we do has a reaction. Across time, across religions, across countries, across cultures, there is no exception to this rule. Students, we stand open to challenge for this. It's not only Newton's law of physics which says to an action there's an equal and opposite reaction. In Hindi, you would have heard, Jaisi karni, vaisi bharni. The Bible says, as you sow, so shall you reap. Justin Bieber sang a song, what goes around comes around. I don't know why that popped into my head, but that's appropriate, so I'm sharing. We need to know this is the biggest and most important, most significant account in our lives, because this determines our prarabdha. This is going to determine our destiny. This is going to shape the way in which our life flows. We will not find one-to-one correlation between action and reaction in the present moment. But if we understand this concept of karma, we will know an action has to have a reaction, because that is how the universe stays. Otherwise, if there is anarchy, it's not only the laws of physics which don't work, even the laws of metaphysics, if they don't work, life cannot continue. If life has to continue, there have to be a set of cohesive laws which hold life together. That is karma at the metaphysics level. So what you learn at the physics level is in the world of the tangible world also intangible. Karma is even more intangible and completely subtle level. Now, some of us may be thinking, self-esteem के साथ इसका क्या relation है? अब तक तो समझ में आया, self-esteem, brand, technology. Why suddenly ma'am is talking of karma? The answer to that is, if you're the doer of an action, become careful. What is the quality of my action? What is the quality of my thoughts, words, and deeds? I cannot change the reaction once the action is done. But right now, at this moment, I have a choice. What should be the quality of what I do? For example, in Westlark, when we do a session, we can approach it by thinking, okay, we are employees of VS. हाँ, मैम ने हमें ये बताया है, ये करना है. चलो करते हैं, थोड़ा इंटरनेट से पढ़ लेते हैं, कुछ स्लाइड्स बना लेते हैं, फिर बच्चों से बात कर लेंगे. वो तो anyway 18-19 के हैं, उनको क्या समझ में आएगा what we are talking about? Now that is one approach. Earning our salary, doing the basic minimum. The other approach is to say, okay, this is an interesting topic and it's very relevant because right now in the pandemic, everything is virtual. How about we study? How about we do some research? How about we ask ourselves कि हम कहाँ तक पहुंचे हैं? What have been the pitfalls we have faced? How about talking to a few people and getting their insights and advice? How about making sure we know the laws really well? And then how about speaking with compassion and not judging and understanding that the doer of a wrong action is somebody who needs help. And that's why he or she is behaving in a certain way. Working with that paradigm means in Westlark, when we do a session, we are working towards the best possible that we can. That is sincerity, and that adds to karmic bank balance. So karma works at individual and collective levels, and that is always a choice. हर एक इंसान को वो choice दिया जाता है कि आप determine करो आपके काम की level की quality क्या है. So with this, we finally end by asking you again the question, sorry, what is a brand? Suppose we were to ask you now, the same question we had asked you some time back, what is your brand? Do you feel after our lengthy discussion and various inputs that now you can see yourself in a better manner? You could be someone who was going a little haywire perhaps, or maybe you're someone who has always stuck to the correct thing. You could be someone receiving maybe trouble from others, or maybe you were someone who saw something happening and chose to be silent. Can you now ask yourself the question, is my brand ready for an upgrade? We sincerely hope you're able to answer an honest yes to that particular question. We're going to leave you with the question, because the aim of today's workshop was not only to give you a whole bunch of facts, आपको सिर्फ ज्ञान की बातें कहना वो सिर्फ हमारा मकसद नहीं था. The aim was much wider. It was to leave you with questions, questions which provoke, questions which make you think, questions which poke your mind, which nudge your intelligence, and which make you ask, am I the best person that I can be? So on that note, we conclude the session with immense thanks to all of you for your tremendous patience. It's wonderful to see such a large group has stayed for the entire duration of the session. Thank you so much for giving us your time today, for listening to all of us. And we hope each one of you is going to walk away with mind food, good, healthy mind food. We're going to request you to take a little bit of time today once your lectures are over and other commitments are over. Just dwell on maybe one thing you want to take in your life and implement in your life from all the things we've said. आज का जो हमारा विषय था उसमें हमने बहुत सारी चीजें कवर करी हैं. It's almost like a buffet table when you go to eat. पहले के जमाने में before the pandemic तो buffet में बहुत सारी चीजें होती है. सारी चीजें तो हम नहीं खाते हैं, कुछ चीजें लेते हैं, कुछ टेस्ट करते हैं, कुछ कहते हैं कि no, this is not my cup of tea. So the same way today, there would be something or some things which you find relevant and useful. Please dwell on it and catch it. Thoughts are very intangible. बहुत सूक्ष्म होते हैं जो हमारे विचार होते हैं, उनको पकड़ के रखना है. That is smartness. जो हमारे लिए अच्छी है, जो हमारे लिए हितैषी चीजें जो होती है, उसको पकड़ के रखना है, उसको छोड़ना नहीं है. We make ourselves better not by driving away the bad. We make ourselves better by bringing in more and more good, so that there is no place for the bad. This is our smartness. This is where wisdom lies. So on that note, thank you so much. I'm just going to check the, oh wow, I'm just checking the chat. Lovely to see. Lovely to see that. Most welcome, most welcome. Lovely to see the chat messages coming up. This feels like as if you all are giving us a great big bouquet of flowers, you know, all the lovely words that you all are saying, because I can tell you, this is a very significant feedback that's coming our way from you, and it tells us, it reconfirms our understanding visit students are intelligent and emotionally mature. So very quickly, if your patience permits, great, we are in perfect time. This is what we had kind of targeted. 5 minutes, if anyone has any questions, you could use the chat box and you could just ask a question. Wonderful to see the messages you're putting up. Most welcome, my dear students, most welcome. Nice to see that. Good to see the comment. It wasn't boring. That was a challenge for us. Trust me, the Westlac people, we really worked at it. We've had internal meetings to decide how to toggle our segments so that it flows. So good to know that. Good. Please fill up our feedback form. Okay, so we just got a question in the chat. I'm sorry, we've scrolled ahead very fast.
I will read it for you, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, that would really help, Indira ma'am.
What if my mind is my escape world, it all gets messed up?
Okay, so
again, madam, I would like to point out it's from anonymous user. In spite of telling them to rename themselves, still there is an anonymous user here.
Don't worry. Ma'am, it's okay. Ma'am, we understand. Sometimes what happens is, see, today we've got a very large group. Close to 450 students are there. There are times when we don't feel comfortable putting up our thoughts right now, and we can see whatever is inappropriate is coming up under somebody else's name. So that's very interesting, because there also it shows a certain lack of courage, and that's an unhealthy lack of courage. Whereas somebody who's saying something which is a legitimate question, but doing it anonymously, we can still grant that. We can still understand that, because it means we just need to be more comfortable with ourselves. That's okay. So if the mind is a place of escape, per se, if you're able to treat that in the right boundaries, there is no problem. All of us, for example, like to fantasize. All of us like to daydream. During the pandemic, many of us found ourselves either going to the future and imagining good things, or we thought ourselves going to the past and remembering good things, which is why we reconnected with families. And in the first phase of the pandemic, there was all these games and bonding and so many things happening. So please note, in the right measure, there is no problem with having your mind as a place of escape, because that is the only escape that is often available to us. However, the problem arises when that becomes a place where we end up ignoring our problems and living in denial. So like we said, if I have pain in me because of which I'm behaving badly. I'm doing things that are not just unethical, but actually immoral and illegal. Right now also something has happened. Everybody has seen that's actually illegal, my dear. Whoever has done it, please know you need help. Not for a moment are we judging you, because all of us are aware, the grown-ups especially, when I say all of us, grown-ups are aware over here that there is going to be trouble when pain stays unaddressed. It's like if something is rotting and fermenting, let's say in one corner of your kitchen, the stink is going to be felt all over the house. You can try and mask the stink by putting flowers, burning agarbattis, but till you remove what is rotten, till you identify कि ये जो बदबू है वो कहाँ से आ रही है, क्यों आ रही है, what is it that's rotten, and you remove that, discard that, that stink will not go away. It will be there in your house. In the same way, in our minds, when we carry things which are harmful to us, but we haven't addressed them. Like Meeta ma'am said, maybe we have faced trauma or we have faced abuse. The reasons can be anything. Or maybe we are just super bored, super mischievous, super intelligent and don't know what to do with our brains. That is also a possibility. We end up doing things in a very wrong way. So please know, mind as an escape is fine. Whoever has asked this question, please read up on Baudrillard's hyperreality theory. I'll also ask you to read out one more concept from neuroscience, Skinner's theory, S-K-I-N-N-E-R. Skinner's theory tells you why you get hijacked. Please note, I'm saying this specifically with reference to technology. If you're the kind who doesn't use technology too much, but your mind is an escape place in general, you sit by the window and you're daydreaming, that is less dangerous. But it's still dangerous if it's done beyond the point, but it's less dangerous. If technology is your escape, you need help, because mostly we are not even aware how our thoughts begin to change. Understand, whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you think is mind food. Just like you don't want to feed yourself poison, you don't want to feed your mind that which is poisonous for you in the long term. Okay, so I can see a lot of questions coming up. Indira ma'am, I would request you, okay, before that, Indira ma'am, I'm just quickly going to take up one question that I can see. So Anish, you've asked a lovely question. Any books you recommend for personal change? One book that I can strongly suggest, the very fact that you're asking this question, that's very nice, Anish, it's very heartening. Start by looking at Dr. Deepak Chopra's book, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Why I'm suggesting that is, if you're a teenager, 18, 19-year-old, and you're a reader, you're somebody who likes to read to improve yourself, it means you are emotionally mature and ready enough for this particular book. This is a thin book which gives you a lot of ways to understand whether you're on the right track of life or not. I repeat the name, Dr. Deepak Chopra's book, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. This is going to help you align your life as a student and your pursuit of engineering with the higher purpose and goals of life. And then there are many books. You can check out books of Eknath Easwaran if you're spiritually inclined. You can check out the books of Swami Rama. If you're more spiritually inclined, there are other books. I'll not get into those details here because we have a large audience, but I'll be happy to talk offline or after the session is formally over, and I can share more books with you. One general suggestion that I would give to those of you who are readers, and if you particularly like meaningful books, no problem. I can just see what's come up on the chat. That's absolutely fine. Like I said, your case is very legitimate. Coming back to what I was saying, please check out different authors and find what works for you. Just like when you have chaat, you have sev puri or bhel puri. You will tell that, bhaiya, please tikha kam do, ya tikha zyada do, ya khatta zyada do, kam do. You customize it as per your requirement. The way you do for food, you have to do much more for mind food. So if I recommend something to you with the best of intentions, I still may not be able to tell you that which is most suitable for you. So what I will strongly suggest is use Amazon until such time as we can go to bookshops. Actually go through the different authors, the different titles, see what appeals to you. Yes, you're right. It is hard to select. It is hard to select. So start off, like I said, that's why I recommended the first one is because I know that appeals to a wide base of people. And Dr. Deepak Chopra, having been a medical doctor himself, he approaches this domain with a lot of science and analysis. And at the same time, he takes you beyond science. He doesn't stop with the science part, which is what I found appealing in my early years of learning. So that's perfectly valid as a question. I hope I've been able to answer. Ma'am, I'm going to request you to please help me out with the chat. So which are the questions that you...
Next question is from Ashutosh. How do we deal with rejection? How do we deal with rejection?
Okay, so would any of the counselors like to take that? I would have a thought as well, but any counselor would like to go ahead, you could do that.
Should I, ma'am?
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, so rejection, first thing you have to understand that where do this rejection comes from? Like sometimes when we are not accepting ourselves or we have been ignoring ourselves, so we have to know that where does this trigger from? You're not very happy within yourself. You have not accepted yourself and you are not happy with yourself. That is a time you feel that you have been feeling rejected, and also you feel that you are comparing yourself with others, and that time you feel that there is something lacking in me, there's something lacking in me, and which I need to just as like I said, what are the shortcuts? So what we do, we generally take up any shortcut and we try to build it up, and we need to just try to get approval from others. Now what happens, this approval getting from others, we constantly try to ignore ourselves, and we see that we are not very happy. So how to work with the rejection? Now what are my best qualities in myself, what are my best strengths? We need to understand that we all have certain flaws, so we have to recognize our flaws and our strengths, and we need to make our flaws workable. So we need to find out that what is best working with me, not by comparing with others, but within the given resources or within the given things, what I can need to bring out the best in myself. Like suppose I don't have a good physique, or I don't have a good body, or maybe I'm not having the smart, efficient to speak properly. So now I need to realize that how can I bring out that weakness in a better by slowly, gradually and consistently working with it. It cannot be overnight coming up and then so what is the reason that I feel that I am being rejected, and then work on that. So how to be consistent and disciplined? We need to just go ahead and understand that now where do I invest most of my time? What is there, like ma'am said, that you need to be, sometimes if you are there for your just taking a mind hack, or you just sitting for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that's fine. But over a period of time, if it is going, then you need to understand that you have to work it out in a better way. You need to work it out and give a conscious stop and say that this is what I need to see and I need to go ahead. Now, there's one more thing. I think I've missed some message.
Ma'am, it's okay. Actually, a lot of chats have come up, not a problem. I think what you've shared, that is really useful. So I'll just add a quick thing to that. Like ma'am said, just to reiterate, and remember, don't take rejection personally. Like Preeti ma'am had also said sometime back while discussing with reference to technology, we need to know when we're dealing with any kind of rejection. Let's say you applied for internship and you're not able to get through, and you thought that you were good, but now you find that it's not so easy to get an internship, and somewhere it shakes up your self-esteem. And you start thinking, am I not good enough? Fir iske baad kya hoga once I finish my degree? How am I going to get a job, or how will I get admission into a master's, etc.? Like Meeta ma'am said, one needs to work at oneself to find out very analytically. So a little trick that I'll suggest to all of us, it's not just the person who's raised a question. It is about thinking that you're giving advice to a best friend. Think as if it's not about you, it's about a best friend. You're being objective and helping that person draw up a balance sheet. ये आपके strengths है और ये opportunities areas है. We don't think of it as a weakness. We think of it as a domain that needs to be further strengthened. So it's like there is a flower and there's also a bud. Now the bud can become a flower. The bud has to be helped and given enough time and the right circumstances to be allowed to blossom. So similarly in our lives, we've got traits that are strong. We also have traits that are a little not so strong. We need to work on the latter. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap up a little quickly because a lot of questions have come up. We'll try and do justice. Students, our apologies in case we're just touching upon the tip of the iceberg for most of the questions. We will probably need another session with the first year students. So Nair ma'am is here. Ma'am, we're going to request you, if possible, we can always have a session which is called Ask Westlark, where only questions are asked. We actually have such a system which is completely left to students to be asking questions. And I can see again, your questions reiterate your emotional maturity. Another quick one that I'll take up before passing on the baton to the counselors. So Yash, you asked the question, how to control the mind and how to activate the subconscious mind. Please note, firstly, we can't control the mind. So the correct word to use is manage, because we need to manage the mind the way you manage a very frisky, a very naughty, a very energetic puppy. Just like the puppy is going to have boundless energy and run around everywhere, our minds are going to run around. But जैसे हम लोग puppy को थप्पड़ नहीं लगा के बोलते हैं कि don't go into the traffic, you'll get killed. Very gently we pull it back. The same way we do it for our minds. So how do you do that? With consistent practice of mindfulness and training. Pranayam is very useful. Doing Hasta Mudras is very useful. So right now, if you can see what I'm doing, this is not just the AOK sign of USA. It is India's Dhyana Mudra. Dhyana Mudra is very good for those of you who get restless fast and bored fast, because this actually helps to activate certain neural networks. Again, time doesn't permit us to get into great details, but simple techniques such as alternate nostril breathing of Anulom Vilom, Dhyan Mudra, sitting in mindfulness for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, all of them can ramp up your mind's ability to manage your life in a much better manner. Please note, your problems don't go away. What happens is you get better at solving them. Activating subconscious, this is a completely different discussion. Yes, there are ways to do it. You can get into Reiki, pranic healing, Kundalini yoga. You can get into certain forms of yogasanas, etc. You can do something very simple if you don't want to do all this. Raat ko sone ke pehle, unclutter your mind, write out in a list all the good things that happened as a gratitude diary part, and ask yourself what you want to visualize yourself as. That's one of the simplest, most effective, fastest, zero-cost ways of activating your subconscious mind. And how do you manage it rather than just having a multitude of ideas? By constantly training yourself to focus. At any given point of time, understand the nature of the mind is to be a bakasur and to go in 50 different directions. So we're getting a question about the 1:30 lecture cancelled or postponed. So I think the professors will be able to handle and answer that. I'm really not aware. Can we take up another 2 or 3 quick questions? Anjali ma'am, Indira ma'am, I'll ask you all because you all were coordinating. Where do we stand vis-a-vis time?
Actually, there are so many questions and we would like you to talk on it. But I think better to have one more session. Because it's already like from 11 we are here, it's 1 o'clock.
Ma'am, Nair ma'am, you're on mute. You want to speak something?
Nair ma'am, you are on mute.
Yes, in the meantime, I can see there's a lot of chat coming up about yoga, the Bhagavad Gita. Absolutely, those are fabulous. But I must say that please don't approach these disciplines by yourself. Make sure you have the right guru, because they need some amount of hand-holding. But it's wonderful to see at a young age, you're already aware of the wealth which we have in terms of knowing these things in our country.
Half an hour lunch break will be there definitely. So I will request Vivek sir to please note this point. Half an hour lunch break after this. And madam, I would like you to, and it was a fantastic fantastic session, I would say. You have addressed actually all the points which were concerned to us. And one more thing, I would like you to answer one question somebody has asked about the regretting the past. Could you please?
Yes. Sure.
Please read that question.
Yes.
Babar Kasam, please. I would like you to answer that quickly.
Yes, ma'am, we'll do that. Indira ma'am, don't worry. I had seen the question and made a note of it. So this is again very normal. Please note, the mind by itself doesn't always stay in the present moment. We talk of mindfulness, but mindfulness is like muscle building. It takes practice. Normally, the nature of the mind is either to slip into the past and have regrets, or to fantasize about the future. Now, how do you know if you're doing it? If you have pain, regrets, or if you have anger, a lot of anger, chances are you're someone whose mind goes to the past fast. Holding grudges, for example, or feeling injustice was done to you. That's an indication that we're looking more into the rear view mirror of life. If, on the other hand, we are very anxiety prone, we have a lot of stress, a lot of worries, a lot of tensions, it means we are going to the future, but we are not sure how the future will unfold. Therefore, we are worried. Again, that is a sign to us that we are not staying so much in the present moment. So, iska hal kya hai? Solution kya hai? The answer is very simple. Short term, use breathing techniques to get back to reality. And long term, when you find your mind is drifting off to the past, आप बार-बार पिछले दिनों के बारे में सोच रहे हो, somebody said something, someone did something, maybe God forbid you suffered or your family suffered because of something. Please know the law of karma is infallible. There is no exception to it. The thing is, if you have been a victim, either you, your family, your loved ones, your friends, whoever it may be, please know an action gets a reaction. Now that doesn't mean कि हम side में बैठ के ताली बजाए कि हाँ, I'm going to wait and see उसने ऐसा किया अभी उसके life में क्या होता है. That's not how it works. And if you're smart, you're not going to waste your mental bandwidth. बोलते हैं ना जो 5G का नहीं, यहाँ पे 500G का bandwidth है, आप उसको नष्ट नहीं करोगे, waste नहीं करोगे in dwelling on the past. So what should you do the next time your mind wanders? Very simple, ask yourself a question. What do I learn from the past? What has this incident taught me? What has this situation taught me? How can I make myself a better person, a happier person, a stronger person? And then when you proceed forward into the future, you will find the past will haunt you less. जो भी कुछ चीजें past में हुई है, whatever is causing you pain, whatever has scarred you, whatever has left a trauma, you can thank it for having played a role in making you stronger. Students, what I'm telling you now is not theory. It is not just theory. It comes to us from our own experiences. Every trouble that you go through, every problem that you face, every injustice you have faced makes you emerge stronger, better. And with that compassion and wisdom, then when you deal with the world, you're in a much better place and you can be of value to others as well. That's how we build our legacies. That's what our life is all about. That's what purpose of life is all about. So don't worry if you have a past where there are regrets, either because you've done things you're not happy about or others have done things that you're not happy about. Either which way, ask yourself, what do I learn? And then walk ahead with those learnings, you're going to be fine. So on that note and that very good question, and again, our apologies to all the others who have asked questions. We would request the Institute if we can have another session soon so that we can address these questions. Students, please note the questions you have asked. Bhul mat jaiye. Honestly, I'm telling you, every time, in fact, in the past, I've called up Nair Madam specifically to tell her that, ma'am, your students ask wonderful questions. We've been so happy. We always feel we're on a high. So please continue being the wonderful people that you are. And I'm saying this without exception to each and everybody who's not just here now, but even those who were there some time back. You are wonderful the way you are. When you recognize that, some of us recognize that, some of us don't. We need someone else to hold a mirror in front of us. When you recognize that, that's when the magic actually starts to happen. Yeah, that applies to you as well. Don't worry, Samsung S3, that applies to you as well. And most welcome to each and every one of you, those who have written the thank you messages in the chat box on behalf of the whole Westlark team. Our thanks to you for your patience, for your great level of participation and enthusiasm. Wish you all the very best. Stay blessed. Thank you.
Ma'am, can I just add one thing? Since there are a lot of questions, out of that I noticed one question about wounded inner child. So if there is someone who's having issues like that, because they're very deep and they will require more time than just answering that question. So I'll request that that person comes forth for a counseling session, and it will be completely, all the details will be confidential. No information will be passed on to anyone. So please, if you feel that there's a need to talk, to share, to find out solutions, do come for the counseling sessions that is arranged by your college, by Westlark. And like Pia ma'am said in the beginning, it is all appointment basis. It's completely confidential. No charges are involved. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call Dr. Anjali Yolet for vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Indira. On behalf of Visit, I, Dr. Anjali Yevle, would like to thank entire Westlark team for having such a wonderful session. And actually, this was a need of an hour to touch upon all the points, the way Pia Madam had touched for self-esteem and technology. Then Preeti Madam had given us a focus on the confidence and arrogance, where the small thin line is. And then Meeta Madam had shared that from her experience that low esteem people start negative behavior such as bullying others or stalking others. So these things were really useful for us. And now I know that now our students are going to make use of this technology for harmony. They are like samajhdar ko ishara kafi hai. We will not need help of any laws or something, so that we can say like lathon ke bhoot haathon se nahi mante, that kind of a term. So definitely it was a wonderful session. Thank you for customizing it for Visit and giving us such a good valuable insight on all the aspect. One more little small request, Madam, if you can give us the PPTs related to laws. So those we will circulate amongst the students for more awareness.
I request students not to leave. Please turn on your video so that we can take a screenshot.
Sure, ma'am, and most welcome. It was truly a very enriching journey for us. I will not say it was an easy journey for us. No, my Westlark team, we're all here, so we know how much of effort went in to this and how many meetings, how many phone calls, how many Zoom calls, how many discussions, how much of reading, how much of notes we compiled. But I would say that at the end, when it is for our students, especially Visit students, we feel very happy and satisfied because we know that they are of the level where every input to them makes a difference, and we are glad that the inputs matter. So thank you from our side for inviting us to do it. And thanks, students. I can see the cameras coming on. That's nice.
And now special thanks to Nair Madam for putting a thought process. This kind of a session we should have. Thanks to organizing team, my organizing team, Indira and Sukanya, we are there. And Sunanda Madam, she had circulated message to all the students to join this meeting. So thank you everyone. So let us switch on our camera to take a photo. Sukanya, please take screenshots.
We'll need multiple screenshots because
Yes, ma'am. I'll take couple of seconds because everything doesn't come in one screen. I'll just take many screenshots.
Yes, please. And we'll just request you to share that with the Westlark team as well. It's
Sure,
wonderful to see our Visit students. And we know that the online world is not the same as the real world, but believe me, there's a lot of magic that happens even in virtual interaction, provided the intention is there. सही नियत अगर हो तो हम बहुत कुछ achieve कर सकते हैं. And in the past, we have seen your seniors, the fabulous work they have done in hackathons and competitions, developing different apps, etc. Visit students are known to be people who can actually solve problems, real problems of scale. So it's wonderful to see that. By the way, I think I'll stop talking. Otherwise, screenshots में लगेगा कि सिर्फ एक मैम बात कर रही है.
No.
My apologies. Ma'am, please tell us when we are done.
Yeah. I'm just in the third screen of the 14 screens which we have.
Oh, wow.
Yes, there are 14 screens. 4 screens, most of the students have not turned on their video. Please turn on your video, students.
And meantime, I'll just tell you, students feel proud of the fact that you all are Visit students. I can assure you that today you may realize this to some degree as the days and years go by. You're going to look back with much more pride towards the institute and know that it was a combination of variables which have led you here, and those are to be blessed. Those variables are to be blessed because you have actually received great value.
And as the Westlark team has already given us a signal, whatever problems we have, we can directly go there and talk to them. We need not to be anonymous in anything. Whatever you want to put forth, you can put forth with your names. That is what the request is.
Absolutely. So we have shared with you our Westlark email ID, and that's also there with the institute. In case you all missed that in the early part of the chat, it's very simple, westlark@gmail.com. तो कभी भी कुछ भी ऐसी जरूरत हो, all you need to do is either give us a WhatsApp or call us up on the line that we had shared, or drop us an email. We work on an appointment basis because we do things in a certain process-driven manner. Like Anjali ma'am said, and all your professors will tell you, don't hesitate to reach out. It's truly wonderful to see this large gathering. Westlab team, I think this is one of the largest we have worked with in the current months.
Yeah. Maximum count we had is 446.
Yes, I did notice because the number of participants was very high until the time when the session was on. I think in Q&A, people probably got hungry. Nobody can be blamed. Yalla, young people and you, all of you must be thinking, kab khatam hoga, khana khane jana hai. Iske baad lecture bhi hai. But kudos to you for your patience and kudos for the very honest questions and the very intelligent questions, I would say. And like Preeti ma'am said, some of your questions, you may need to have one-to-one conversations. And in any case, we have put forward a request. I'm sure Nayar ma'am will agree to the request. We can have another session where you just bring up these questions. Aapko healthy or happy hona hai, uske liye hum sab hain. We're there to help you be your best so that you can bring your best self out into the world. All right, so I'm guessing that we have finished taking the screenshots. Sukanya ma'am, have you finished the screenshots?
Ma'am, almost. I'm in the 10th screen. There are 3 more screens. I'll be done.
Lovely. This is a fun process too. It's the first time Westlab team is having to see this particular process. But hats off to your students. You all are lucky to be nurturing them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, really.
And a quick heads up, we have the VS Shrestha Awards coming up on 16th October. So we'll be, of course, formally giving the invitation. Nayar ma'am has already received it. But for the professors, the HODs and students, we'll be writing in later. There's a lot we do in VES, which is more than just the studies. And you'll get to know about students who are true role models. बहुत संघर्षों को उनका सामना करके जूझते हुए जो आगे बढ़ते हैं, ऐसे भी बहुत सारे students हैं. Lots of such young boys and girls in VES family. Yeah, the feedback form has also been shared in the chat box. Please take just 2 minutes time and let us know if you think the session was useful. We customize this for visit, but we would love to check if this is useful for our sister institutes as well. Or if you think aapke seniors ke liye ye hona chahiye, you're welcome to tell us that. Please let us know your feedback.
Yeah, and if, your attendance also will be taken from this feedback form. Don't worry about the attendance part.
So does it mean, ma'am, those who don't fill up the feedback
screenshots are over. Sorry, ma'am, to interrupt you. The screenshots are over.
Okay, no problem, ma'am. Anjali ma'am, does it mean if they don't give us feedback, they don't get attendance?
Madam, we have clubbed both the forms together. Instead of sharing 2 different forms, it's a one form which has been shared because Anushka madam sent me in the morning.
Yes,
so I asked her to put up the division, roll number and name.
Great. So it does your job. Yes, and it does our job too. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Sharing 2 links.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So thank you, students, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll look forward for more sessions like this.
Tathastu.
Thank you.
Ma'am, very wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
so good to hear that.
You all can leave. You can have your lunch break now. Further schedule will be put up in your class WhatsApp group. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Indira. Thank you, Sukanya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Meeta ma'am. Thank you, Preeti ma'am.
Thank you so much.